Chapter 5, The Changing American Society Subcultures. Marketers are always looking for target markets that are broken into large groups, good targets. So ethnic subcultures is one of the first studied market targets. It's long been known that the average African American woman spends 3 times more on beauty products than the average woman. That's been a huge ethnic target market in cosmetics and things. The nature of subcultures. A subculture is a segment of a larger culture whose members share distinguishing values and patterns of behavior. So we're all basically members of several subcultures because beyond our ethnic subculture, we also live in different geographic regions, which are quite different. We have different religions. We also have different generations, and that makes a difference too. So we start with the ethnic subcultures. One of the first ones that's studied is African Americans. Each ethnicity has its own consumption patterns. If you look at the table 5.1 on page 154, it covers many different products, activities, shopping, and media, and goes by white, black, and Hispanic and shows different behaviors. These are significant. Marketers look at these to identify targets and characteristics of target markets. Media usage. It happens that media have proliferated and grown to such a degree that there are media for almost every single subculture. And each culture now has been studied more and more and more, and all the diversity is becoming more documented. So just among African Americans, here are 11 different segments that are identified by Yankelovich, who does research on that kind of stuff. So if you want to target to certain subcultures, you can always find media that are very popular and address all the different interests of that culture. And so a lot of different companies have gotten into that and identified products that are just specifically aimed at one subculture, one ethnic subculture. As far as retailing, that's a big deal, and different product mixes are offered in different neighborhoods. I see in my grocery stores, just where I live, I go to different parts of town and they have completely different products. Some sections have a lot more salsas and things, and other sections have a whole lot more hair care options. So I've seen that where I live. So Hispanics, a very diverse culture, lots of different languages, lots of different makeup. The acculturation, because of all these different languages, they study language and how long people hang on to their language, and that's a way of identifying people is which language to address in. Hispanic teens are very bicultural. In fact, the younger you are, the more likely you are to speak 2 languages quite well and be able to slip back and forth into different groups and identify with different subcultures. So marketing to Hispanics, obviously there are a humongous number of Spanish language options. We have so many viewing options nowadays, it's quite easy. So then we get into the Asian subcultures, again, very diverse. You read more about it in the textbook. Characteristics, these often have to do with how long you hold on to your original culture, how long it takes you to become completely, quote, Americanized, but that's kind of changing. What's expected of that? So Native Americans, American Indians, and Alaskan Natives, so there's census data on all this, again, very diverse. Asian Indian, people from India, tend to live in larger cities in certain groups. Arab Americans, small group, under 1%. And then you get into religious subcultures. Obviously, the American heritage is based on a Judeo-Christian heritage. That's where our holidays like Christmas, Easter, and Thanksgiving come from. Roman Catholics, about 21% of American adults. Protestant, about 45%. And born again, which is a different segment of Christianity. Non-Christian, Jewish, about 2%. But look here, Subway, it's worth it. 2% of all Americans is worth it to address a product line to a subculture. Muslim subculture, Buddhist subculture, about the same as Muslim size. These are much smaller. Then when you move into regional subcultures, you're back to seeing this diversity again. On this chart, it's table 5.3 on page 176. You can see that if you go to northeast, midwest, south, and west and look at products, activities, shopping, and media, very different behaviors in different parts of the country. So regional subcultures are something to consider. Menus vary. The further south you go, the more you see grits on a breakfast menu. The further north you go, the more you'll see different kinds of things. The breads are different in every country in Europe, and it's kind of like that, getting to be like that here, that you can get different kinds of foods at different kinds of bakeries in different parts of the country and different neighborhoods. So be sure and read these learning objectives. Again, make sure you're familiar with those. And that concludes Chapter 5.